The Chargers call off contract extension talks with Austin Ekeler. Per Austin Ekeler, this is not a speculative piece. This is not some beat writer trying to predict what happened. This is coming from Austin Ekeler. Ekeler felt punched in the face after the Chargers dismissed contract extension talks and have essentially called them off. What does this mean for Ekeler's 2023 value? Could he still get traded? Might they still work out a long-term deal during the year? Does he deserve a long-term deal? We're going to break down that and more during this emergency fantasy football live stream. File on in.
The FantasyFootballShow.com studios. It's the Fantasy Football Show live Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern.
What is going on, everybody? My name is Smitty. You're watching the Fantasy Football Show, and we've got breaking news.
From the FantasyFootballShow.com news desk, here is your breaking news.
Austin Ekeler feeling like he was punched in the face by the way the Chargers dismissed contract extension talks and have kind of called them off, according to Ekeler himself on XM Sirius satellite radio. So this is a pretty big deal because it sounds like Ekeler and the team aren't even talking about the extension to a certain degree. It sounds like there's obviously communication. I'm sure Ekeler can pick up a phone. I'm sure Ekeler could walk right into the GM's office, the coaches. Like, he's got the ability to do that, but it sounds like he's playing this from afar. His agent's taking care of it, and it sounds like the Chargers and agent discussing Lamar. Take notes, Lamar. This is why you need an agent. But this sounds like it's not going well in terms of the seeking out a trade partner. If you remember back, Austin Ekeler requested permission to talk to other teams in regards to a potential trade he could get kick-started. And Ekeler's 28 years old. He had a phenomenal 2022 NFL season. Phenomenal. Just absolute terror this guy went on. And I'll even drop the game log or the stats on the screen here so we can speak about them with 100% accuracy. So if we drop Austin Ekeler's 2023, I get real dark in here. I need to get some keyboard lighting here. This is Austin Ekeler's 2022 season. It's a phenomenal season. This year was, he dropped fantasy football loads all over the field. He had 19-15 on the ground, 13 touchdowns, 4.5 a pop, 107 receptions for 722 and an additional 5 touchdowns, 18 total scores. That was an unbelievable season. Dude's 28 years old, though. He's 28 years old, not designed by the fantasy gods to actually be a workhorse between the tackle running back. He's 5'10". He can't be if he's pushing 200 pounds, I'd be shocked. 200 pounds. This is a guy that's been in the NFL since 2017. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 NFL seasons. Pretty much was a hybrid, more on the version of a receiving back until 2021, which is shocking when you think about it. You're like, didn't he have a couple 1,000-yard rushing season? He's never rushed for 1,000 yards on the ground. He's had 2 back-to-back 900 rushing yard seasons in 2022 last year and in 2021 the year before. But in 2020, he was still a 530, a 550, a 554. That was the amount of rushing yards he was going to get you. And that's really where he belongs. His stature, his frame. He's been taking on a lot of miles, and I don't know that I trust him to stay healthy in 2023, given that he's 28 years old, given that he's taking the brute force of a between the tackles running back at his smaller stature and size. Do I think he could score another double-digit touchdown season? Do I think he could start off the 2023 season on an absolute terror in the first month of fantasy football and maybe be number one in terms of all running backs fantasy football production in the first 4 weeks? Absolutely. That's why I don't tell you to avoid him at all costs. I don't tell you that he's going to be an absolute bust in the beginning of the year, the entire year. He's not walking into week one crawling. And like Todd Gurley, where I literally beat a dead horse and drum on that, saying, guys, he's done. He's done. And everyone's like, no, he's the number 1 overall pick. And then slowly but surely we started inching toward, you guys remember, that was the first year I was on YouTube. And it's crazy to think that everybody that thinks this guy's going to play another 2 or 3, 4 years isn't really, they're not thinking logically. Is there a shot that he comes into 2023 and has an absolute phenomenal season? Like, it's possible. Like, on the low end of probably 20 or 30% chance. That means there's a 70 to 80% chance he's going to miss significant time or drop off at some point when double-digit weeks come. But he didn't, like Todd Gurley, look to have dropped off during the Super Bowl, remember? Or before. And he wasn't used in the Super Bowl, Todd Gurley. We saw him drop off. You can watch the footage. I could see it with my own eyes. I knew the drop off was here. It wasn't coming. It was here. And a lot of people didn't want to accept it. Your boy Smitty, go watch my YouTube channel. I did, I believe it was 5 or 10,000 no Todd Gurley, no Todd Gurley, no Todd Gurley, no Todd Gurley video. Just me saying no Todd Gurley, I think 5,000 times straight. Just as a Todd Gurley awareness situation. This isn't the case with Ekeler. He finished on fire. He looked on fire. We see no signs of a drop-off yet. So if he falls to like the top of the second round, the 12, 13 turn picks, whatever, and you can trade in your league, I don't mind it. I don't mind it at all. Just do me a favor and strongly consider what I'm saying. Do me a favor. Strongly consider trading him after 1.5 months of football. Don't even sniff double-digit weeks. Trade him before double-digit weeks even approach. Because this is one of those players that's going to probably start off on a tear and then at some point break down and get hurt. That's my prediction. That's what my gut tells me. As far as Ekeler, and speaking of all this, disrespected by my own organization were words that came out of his mouth during this interview. The Chargers basically say, hey, we don't want to talk about extensions anymore. That's coming from Austin Ekeler's mouth. Ekeler felt punched in the face after the Chargers dismissed contract extension talks. This is real. This is a real little beef between the two. Now, do I expect the team to try and soften this situation out and literally come in and tell him he's valuable? And I even heard there's word, I think it was Rappaport said that there was at some point during last year, the Chargers attempt to maybe even give him extra money. Like, here, just take some money. We want to give you a raise. We're not giving you an extension. We're not signing you to a long-term deal. You're a 28-year-old running back. You're going to be a 28-year-old running back. Get some perspective. Read the room, Ekeler. You're not some abnormal, I'm going to play till 35-year-old player. I know you feel that way. I don't blame you. I don't blame any player for thinking they're an outlier. They're an anomaly. They're gonna be the one that plays it till 33 at an elite level. I get it. I understand where he's coming from, but he needs to also get a hard dose of reality that no one's gonna be waiting at the end of 2023, which is what he also said on the interview. He said that if we, it looks like I'm gonna have to play on my final year on my contract in LA. I'll be a Charger for 2023, bank on myself, bet on myself. I think pardon if my verbiage is a little off of quoting him exactly, but I believe he said, I'll bet on myself, play out one more year, and then test free agency or go hit free agency. But he can still get franchise tagged. As far as I'm aware, there's no, you can't franchise tag me in my contract. So he can still get franchise tagged, which will be probably between $10 and $14 million next year. And that's a nice, handsome amount of money to give somebody when they really could be at the very end. So that wouldn't be a bad scenario for him. He might feel that it's that prison tag forcing me to stay put. But if he blew up this year and they wanted to keep him one more year, they could franchise tag him. As far as I know, he doesn't have a no tag clause in his contract. If I'm wrong on that, somebody bring it up, but I'm almost positive he doesn't. So banking on yourself, I mean, I don't know what you even expect to happen if Ekeler, you go out there and you have a very similar season. Let's say your touchdowns are around 12, 13 total. You got about 900 on the ground, about 600 through the air, about 95 receptions. Let's say it's not repeating this exact stat line. What's he going to get? Does he really believe he's going to go out there? And I don't blame him again for trying. But does he really believe he's going to go out there and get a a 3-year extension or a 3-year contract with a team for $35 million. 27 of it guaranteed. Like, does he really believe there are golden pigeons and silver ladies waiting for him after the end of the 2023 season? I don't know. I know that he probably does inch more toward believing that than believing he's done in 1 year or 1.5 years. Now, could a running back linger for 3 or 4 years at a much lesser level? Certainly possible, but those are usually backs that are built a little different than Ekeler. Ekeler's probably going to have a very quick decline because he's a smaller running back. He's not built to be this workhorse, but he's been doing it, and he's been doing a glorious job. First of all, before anybody thinks I'm throwing shade or hate on Ekeler, I'm not. Let's give him a standing ovation.
Let's go, mashed potatoes.
We got. Hold on a second. We gotta fix the cameras here. We got the cameras all over the place. Let's go ahead and retry this one more time. Let's redo the standing ovation, a proper standing ovation for Austin Ekeler. So hold on a second, Ekeler. Let me fix my cameras. My cameras are out of whack. Okay, Austin Ekeler. Let's give him a round of applause for a job well done and an amazing 2023 fantasy football. 22 fantasy football season and a career up to this point. Austin Ekeler deserves a round of applause.
Let's go, mashed potatoes.
There's absolutely no hate or shade being thrown on Ekeler. This is a hard dose of reality. He's 28 years old this season. 28 years old. That is the new 30 years old. 31. The new 31 is 29, which is what Derrick Henry's entering. And Derrick Henry, some people think he's going to last another 3 or 4 years. Jump before the ship goes down and sinks. Get out a year early versus a year late. If you own Ekeler in Dynasty, trade him now before somebody gets a sense that he's not going to be able to do it the full year. And go get something that's got a whole lot more long-term value that might sniff even close to the same kind of value. Trade across position. Go get a wide receiver that's at the top of his game in 1 year from today. And then that way you're trading for a wide receiver, much more longevity, and you're trading away a hot commodity running back prospect that people think that yes, 30 is the new 60, Dan. That's true. I feel like, there'll be a lot of people that are going to say, oh, he's going to last. This is different. It's going to be different. But 28 years old is the new 30. If you remember, I don't know if some of you were playing fantasy football back when Priest Holmes was in his heyday, when Emmitt Smith was in his heyday, and all those. They're all different generations of running backs. During about 10 years ago or more, running backs that hit 30 years old had a shot. Not a guarantee. It was a long shot, but a possible chance that as long as they turned 30, they didn't turn 31 before the season started. Like, if they entered at 30, they had a decent shot, like decent if they were an elite player, of maybe having a full year left. If they entered just turning 30. If they were going to turn 31 during the season, it was a lot lesser odds. So it was like once you were 31 and the season began, it was like run for the hills. 31 years old, you're an old man at that point in the NFL at the running back position. And as much as people want to just say, oh, Frank Gore did it, or Emmitt Smith played a long time, like that was a different time, different generation of running back. And Zeke Elliott's kind of like the tail end of the offspring of that generation of running back. And so now we're looking at a whole different ballgame. What is the reason? No one truly knows. It's part of it. The game's stronger, faster, harder. Defensive players hit harder. They take more abuse. The running back position takes away more abuse. A lot of players start younger now, and so they put more tread and mileage on their knees and on their feet and their legs. And while it might sound, oh, that's petty because that's younger football, it's still mileage. And the running back position specifically is about hitting that hole and not losing that step. A wide receiver could lose a step and still be very smart with his game, run crisp routes, squeeze a little extra from those different categories of their skill set. And a quarterback too. Quarterback could slip a little bit here, slip a little bit there, but you're smarter. Tom Brady's, he probably nowhere near the talent he was physically 4 years ago And I know a lot of people say he dropped off last year at all levels, but he was walking into last year mentally smarter than he's ever been. And so that compensated. With the running back, it's this simple. You either have the step still or you don't. And if you don't have the quick step still, the hole closes like an elevator door that you can't stick your arm in enough time to get it to open up. It just closes and you're done. You hit a wall, you hit the ground, you get absorbed and swarmed behind the line of scrimmage. And it's just a sad reality of the game. So Austin Ekeler, here's the bottom line. Austin Ekeler is not going to find, I don't think, what he believes he's going to find after the 2023 NFL season is over. Austin Ekeler, it sounds to me, like I started to say this earlier and I sidetracked myself. Austin Ekeler, it sounds like the Chargers came to him and said, hey, we're going to give you some extra money. This is what the Ian Rappaport report suggested. Hey, here's some extra money. We just want to give you a raise for all that you're doing. It sounds like that could have been a conversation that was had. I don't know for sure. It could be hearsay. But it sounds like Ekeler didn't want that. Ekeler wanted to get his big, long, fat contract extension. And he should have took what was being offered. Hey, here's some extra bills because we know we can't extend you. You know we can't extend you. Let's just give you a little raise. Just a random, unwarranted, we don't have to do it. No obligation. Just give you a little bit of cash. I believe that's what's being reported. Again, I can't confirm it, but it sounds like it's been something that's been talked about where the Chargers literally just wanted to take care of him. And you can understand why he may have turned it down. I want a big fat contract. I'm not going to commit myself to this or that. But I mean, that was his best. That was the best. They showed good faith. They potentially were going to take care of him in a way, the best way they could. Ekeler's a little bit, I think, out of the scope of reality to think that he's going to be some new 3-year deal, contract extended player, or go like when he was out there looking for a trade partner, he requested permission to seek a trade. The Chargers said, go, let's humble him. Let's let him go. Let's let him go. What could it hurt? He'd go out there and get a big offer or bring in a big offer and someone wants to trade for him and we say yes. And we draft Bijan Robinson at number 22 overall if we should get so lucky, or 21, if Bijan were to fall. Let's just let Ekeler go. What's the worst that could happen? So Ekeler goes out. We believe he visited with Cincinnati. We believe he was potentially looking into a couple other places. We thought maybe the Buffalo Bills could have been involved. Some, like me, said it would be nice if the Eagles would take a look and kick the tires. There are a lot of locations that sounded pretty awesome. Chicago would have been fantastic. I know it's cold, but that would have been a good location. It sounds like he came home empty-handed. It sounds like, based on the interview, those aren't options anymore. They never were. And he got a hard dose of reality. And when he came back, probably saying, okay, I'm not saying this happened, but maybe I don't want to go out and look for a trade partner anymore. Not because they denied me and it didn't sound like there was a good opportunity, but I just want to stay here and I would like a contract extension. We're not going to give you a contract extension. We offered you some cash. We wanted to give you a raise. Maybe they still kick that in. Maybe Ekeler says, fine. Give me my raise. Give me my raise. I don't know that they're going to do that anymore. That could have been last year, not going into his final year. We'll see what happens. As far as fantasy value, he's a 12, 13 turn player for me. That means I might not own him. I understand that. I fully accept that. I'm not mad about it. I don't feel bad about it. I'm not ashamed of myself. I don't feel like I'm going to be ashamed of myself if he has a really good one final year, because guess what I'm doing? I'm just taking a safer approach with my first and top of second round pick. And I might go Ekeler, the 1-2 turn, the 12 and 13 turn picks. If I'm so lucky that he falls, I might go Ekeler. This buzz, this negativity could bump him down for a little while. But just because I pass on him doesn't mean I'm making a mistake, even if he does well for one more year. And I'm wrong about being worried about it. I'm going to take Bijan with a smile. I'm going to take players that I love with a smile. And it doesn't mean anybody's right or wrong. You just got to pick your guy. And Austin Ekeler, I fear breakdown is in the cards. And part of me is going to say, hey, is it worth me taking the gamble of drafting him not looking as good in week 1 or 2, and then having a real tough time trading him, and therefore saying to myself, why did I just take Bijan? Why didn't I just take Bijan? Why did I try and get cute, draft Ekeler, milk it just perfectly, try and get 4 weeks out of it, 6 weeks out of it, then trade him high and play all these games of maneuver when I could just take Bijan Robinson a wee bit early with a big grin on my face, a player I think is going to be the number 1 or number 2 overall running back in 2023 fantasy football on the year. Sum total, number 1 or number 2. That's what I think about Bijan Robinson. So why am I going to mess around with Ekeler? Why am I going to mess around with Ekeler? I'm not gonna. I'm going after Bijan. Chargers offense is going to be completely different with Kellen Moore. Lombardi used Ekeler like he did with Kamara. There's so many moving parts. I mean, it's all these are great points you guys are throwing out. And it all comes, there's unknown offensive changes, unknown whether he can, hold up at his mileage and stature, unknown where they want to go with the running back position. Give me Bijan. Give me Bijan 10 times out of 10 over Austin Ekeler. And I don't care for him. I'm not ashamed of myself. I'm not. If it works out for both of them, I don't care. If Bijan doesn't play, let's say he gets hurt, you can't predict the injuries. I don't care. I'm making the right decision, in my opinion, to go Bijan over Ekeler. And if Ekeler's sitting there in round 2 because more people freak out about it, then we'll have a conversation about going Bijan Ekeler. Or let's say I go Tyreek Hill, or let's say you go Travis Kelce in round 1, whatever. There's another worry we'll talk about. Kelce potentially dropping off, or does he have one more year? We'll have that conversation in a whole different video. But let's say you go Kelce, let's say you go Tyreek Hill, and Ekeler's somehow there. Then that's a total solid contemplation to make. You contemplate that if Ekeler's sitting there, but I'm not taking him in round 1. At least not in any league I can envision if Bijan's sitting there at 12. And Bijan's going right around 13, 14, 15. Dude, your Finns just re-signed Wilson and Mostert. Yeah, but I could see Miami Mike making a trade for Ekeler, but the thing is we haven't heard anything. There's no buzz. I imagine that a team would offer a second rounder for Ekeler. They should. Why the Buffalo Bills aren't, I don't know. They don't seem to value running back that much. Why the Eagles don't, I don't know. Maybe these teams are a little bit more in tune with the drop-off age for a running back, and none of them want to give up a second rounder for a potential drop-off year. Maybe he's not going to drop off. A few people in here seem to think, oh, he takes care of himself, he's going to be better. I've seen that comment a couple times, and I respect the comment, and I understand the comment, but your body's your body. Your knees are your knees. Terrell Davis, I don't know how many of you remember or watched or drafted Terrell Davis, but Terrell Davis said that he was in the middle of a game, in the middle of domination. He was having a fantastic game. He was in the middle of it, and he said he knew he was done. He said he played a little more, but he didn't quit that game. But he said in the middle of that game, he knew he was done. This was his last year, and the drop-off was immediately at his doorstep. Like from that game on, he's going to start to deteriorate. And he just said he could tell. The step wasn't there. It had something to do with like his knees, his cutting, the quick step. This is in the middle. He actually finished the game very strong, but he said he just knew. He knew that the drop-off, it hit him like a brick wall. And that happens to RBs. It doesn't happen to wide receivers or quarterbacks or other positions. It's different because people don't understand that the running back is all about hitting a hole. It's all about how quickly can you get to a hole, how quickly can you evade defenders as you try and squeeze out every single carry you have to get past the line of scrimmage as if someone's chasing you like in a scary movie. These guys are looking behind, like it's all about getting through that hole, that A gap, that B gap. Once you lose your step, that's it. Finns would be taking Bijan at 21. If they didn't lose their draft pick. I keep that on here so people know that the Dolphins lost the draft pick and so that they know where the Dolphins would have been selecting this 21 overall. It's just like this should be 22 overall, but Dolphins lost it. That's where we're at. Dial into the phone line if you want to discuss where Ekeler goes in your mind in fantasy football drafts, redraft dynasty, and what you should do with them.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
Crazy topic, though. I mean, a lot of implications from a dynasty perspective. We probably should go live on the dynasty channel after this real quickly. From a dynasty perspective, look, you own them, you better just get rid of them. You better go buy low on an Olave. You better go buy low on a player that go try and get a Jahmyr Gibbs or a Charbonnet to replace Ekeler with. You're not going to get what you want a year from today. You're not going to get even remotely close. In fact, you probably want to think of an example would be Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook was a first rounder last year. What was Dalvin Cook's ADP last year? I want to say Dalvin Cook was between 7 and 14. I don't quite remember his ADP last year toward the end of August. It changed a lot. Where's Dalvin Cook getting taken right now? 6th round? 5th, 6th round. I mean, he's kind of a value if he gets into the right spot. If the Vikings release him or trade him and he goes to Buffalo or he goes to Chicago, I kind of feel like Dalvin Cook in Buffalo with his brother, James Cook and Dalvin Cook, or Dalvin Cook in Chicago. For some reason, all those things pop into my mind. You might get it. You might squeeze another year out. But I don't know if it'll be a full year, but it'll be some kind of fun, exciting version of Dalvin Cook that might get extended. But like in Minnesota, I'm not feeling good about it. It's more of a pass-heavy attack than it ever was. He squeezed out some 100-yard games and didn't really do as well on the year, but somehow, managed to kind of bring his stat line up at the end of a game through some kind of breakaway run. If you owned him, it was frustrating. You were worried the whole game, and at the end of the game, you're like, Dalvin Cook finally broke off a 40-yard run at the end. He's over 100 yards. Good. But think of Ekeler as Dalvin 1 year from today. Dalvin will probably be the value range that Ekeler has. So if you're in Dynasty, you're going to be extremely disappointed in yourself if you don't go shopping and buying low and selling Ekeler as high as you can sell him. So I pray Bijan doesn't end up on the Patriots. You and me together, Jared. I don't want Ramondre to lose his value, and I don't want Bijan to go to a team unless they have Lamar Jackson, which I still don't like it because of Ramondre. But unless they have Lamar Jackson, this is not a winning team. The Patriots are going to have a very, very bad year. This is going to be is Bill Belichick going to be fired? Springboard conversation off of the back of the 2023 season. So, let me go to the top of the chat. First in the building was Dan. Appreciate you, Dan. Sandu was second in the building. The OJ, appreciate you. Travis in the building. Lee, appreciate you. Lee, Mike, Space Ricky in the house. The OJ's in the house. TMT's in the building. Blind Larry's in the building. I've got a plethora of you OGs in here. David's in here. Double A's in the house. Lightskin B, appreciate you. Appreciate Mason. Appreciate Thomas. Bud Smokers here. I appreciate everybody. I tried to name it. I can't keep going. That'll take up the whole show, but appreciate everybody that's in the building. Punch that thumb up button for your boy Smitty. Okay, helps me out a lot. The only team I really don't want to see him go to is Patriots. Okay, if Bijan goes to the Patriots, then Ramondre is gone. That would be true. I think Bijan survives, but he won't have as good of a rookie year, or potentially the beginning of his career in New England, unless they draft Bijan, trade for Lamar. All those things are so hard to envision happening at the same time too. Like it'd be crazy to do one of those things. Hope you're right. Texas says it's not a reach, but Bill won't take him. Yeah, I'm not thinking he will. Not to mention, I mean, you look at the landing spots for Bijan. We hope it's, I hate for Algier to get nudged aside, but like Atlanta, let me ask you this question. For those of you worried about Bijan's landing spot, would you rather accept now that it's Atlanta and you lose Algier and you have Algier as a competitive, piece there? Would you take that now versus rolling the dice on other locations? Like, my question is, I can guarantee you Atlanta right now, or I don't know where the landing spot is. How many of you raise your hand, thumb up, or say yes? You could type yes, put a thumb up, raise your hand. How many of you would accept the upfront risk of Falcons landing spot to forego the potential risk of some other unknown landing spot? I'm very curious who believes the Falcons would be worth that risk. Bijan to Dallas, not unless they trade up, bro. Everyone keeps saying that. Bijan to Dallas. Bijan's not falling to 26 overall. But could they trade up, I suppose? Why would Bijan go to the Cowboys? Why not Bijan to the Cowboys? Again, PVD if they trade up. No, I would risk the chance of an elite team getting him. Okay. I like that boldness, Sandu. I saw a mock today that had Bijan going to Washington. It's definitely a possibility. Washington's becoming a little bit of a player in the Bijan sweepstakes. The Chargers would be phenomenal if Ekeler wasn't there, but according to the report that I'm talking about right now today, right this very second, the reason for the live stream, sounds like Ekeler's not getting any movement in the trade partner front. So it's looking like Ekeler's back in a Charger uniform, and while Bijan in a Charger uniform for 2024 and beyond is amazing, and maybe you bite the bullet and say, okay, he goes to the Chargers with Ekeler still on roster. And he doesn't have as good a year as he could by himself, but he has a really good year still. He has like 1,100 yards, 7 touchdowns, not a ton of receiving work, but he's in an ideal spot for the future. Like, there's that consideration from a fantasy perspective too. We wouldn't get running back one numbers potentially. The overall running back one that I keep predicting. I don't know that we get that in a Charger uniform with Ekeler still on roster, but it could be a patient game for us to say Ekeler in LA is good because 2024, 2025 when Eckler's not there, it's fire. With Herbert, good offense, Moore, whole bunch of good production. They bring in a wide receiver. I mean, it's possible. So we'll see. I think Bijan makes Algier look pedestrian, of course. I mean, let's not get carried away and start talking Algier up like he's some absolute top 5 running back, but he looks good. I like Algier a lot. We had him on the Moomin list for a reason last year. Very excited about him. We got Scotty, Du, and Gustavo. Who am I talking to? Scotty, Du, or Gustavo, or both?
Scotty, Du, and Gustavo is on the line.
I got both of you. That's amazing. How's Hawaii treating you guys?
Hawaii's beautiful. It's missing you. Yeah, we're missing you, man. Here, man.
Hey, if I do come to Hawaii soon, and I go to Waikiki, is that near you guys? I forget.
It's by me, yes, Scott. It's about 10 minutes from me. Gustavo's on the other side of the island, so it's about 45 minutes for him.
The other side. It takes 45 minutes to get to the other side.
If you come down, I would personally pick you up from the airport.
Can you zip 45 minutes across the island? That's amazing. Can you zip line from one side to the other? Someone should create that process. So you could just zip line right over to Gustavo.
Yeah, let me call the governor. He'll get right on.
Yeah. But hey, I plan to come to Hawaii. Very, very soon. I hopefully. Okay, so I'll keep you guys in mind.
Hell yeah, man. We miss you, man. We can't wait for the NFL season to start back up.
Yeah. What do you guys got for me tonight? You want to talk about Ekeler or what?
Who do you think is going to be the first overall coming out of the draft? Hey, you hold the phone.
First overall pick?
Yes.
I'm getting the sense it's going to be Stroud. I think Stroud's probably the Panthers' pick. I think Anthony Richardson's going to be very tempting for everybody. But I think that Bryce Young's a better fit for the Texans, and that leaves the Cardinals' number 3 overall pick a hot commodity because I don't think they want to draft Anthony Richardson. I don't know that they're for sure going to trade it, but I can't imagine a team like the Falcons or even the Raiders. I don't know that they believe in Jimmy G for the long term. A team like the Tennessee Titans, a team like the Washington Commanders. There's so many teams. Even, some say the Detroit Lions wouldn't even consider it. I disagree. I think there are a lot of teams that would say to themselves, we can trade up to this number 3 pick and get a generational talent, at least athlete, a generational athlete. We'll see if he turns into an amazing quarterback or not. But this Cardinal pick is up for grabs. But Stroud at number 1. If Stroud doesn't go 1, he goes 2. So this is either Stroud or Anthony. It's easy to go back and forth, bro, because a lot of teams still like Bryce Young. I know a lot of people don't, but a lot of teams still like him. I like him. I like Bryce Young. But probably Stroud, probably Bryce Young, probably a defensive player, top defensive player in the draft, or the Cardinals trade out of this pick and trade to a team that takes Anthony Richardson. The real question is going to be, what if the Cardinals go defense at 3 and don't trade out, and the Colts get their hands on Anthony Richardson? That's going to be crazy.
You don't think Lamar will go to the Colts? You don't think that's going to happen?
I think it could happen, but bro, keep in mind that the Colts have the number 4 overall pick there, and he can't be traded right now. He can't be traded. Lamar Jackson has not signed his franchise tag, so he cannot be traded. That means the only way to acquire Lamar is to surrender your first 2 immediate first rounders from the 2023 and 2024 draft. The Colts are not releasing this 4 overall pick in that deal, I don't think. So what does that mean? That means they go through the draft. If they get Anthony Richardson, amazing. If they don't get Anthony Richardson, they have Minshew. They attempt to go after Lamar once the draft is concluded. And they surrender their 2024 first rounder and 2025 first rounder. That's why no one's biting on Lamar. The teams that need Lamar all have top 15 picks here, top 16 picks. Washington's got 16. New England's got 14. Tennessee's got 11. The Colts have 4. The Lions even might be interested. They've got the 6th pick. The Raiders and the Falcons 7 and 8. Why would these teams want to give up that when they can just wait until the draft's over and then the offer sheet requires a 2024 and 2025 first rounder? So the Colts are in perfect position to wait, see if Anthony Richardson falls. If he doesn't, then they go after Lamar after the draft.
You don't see it's hard. I think you don't see the Cardinals really going for a quarterback because they got a good quarterback, but
I wish.
It'll be if they go for a quarterback, man, that means, oh my God, that's crazy. I think that could happen.
Well, the problem though, am I talking to Gustavo or is this Scotty Dew?
Gustavo, Scotty's
okay.
Listening.
Yeah, Gustavo, the problem with that though is Gannon's already said Kyler's the guy. You draft Anthony Richardson or a quarterback at 3, you're sending a crazy message that you do not believe in your quarterback. You just don't take a quarterback in the top 3 overall if you believe in your quarterback. Gannon has said the reason he took the job was because of Kyler Murray. And Gannon said he would not have taken the Cardinals head coaching job if Kyler Murray wasn't on the team. So there's just too much to backtrack from. And if it was me, bro, I would trade Kyler Murray for a pick that landed me Addison or Quentin Johnston or Zay Flowers or Zach Charbonnet or Jahmyr Gibbs. If I could get rid of Kyler, that would land me a pick that would give me one of those players, then I would just take Anthony Richardson at 3, and I would draft, Charbonnet, Gibbs, Addison, whoever, with the Kyler Murray pick. That's what I would do. I would do it in a millisecond, and I'd have a better team for it. But Gannon loves Kyler, and bro, I just can't see it. Is it possible? Sure. But is that going to piss off Kyler? Is that going to create a total divide between Gannon and Kyler right from the jump? Absolutely. That would be the worst. If you do believe in Kyler, that would be the worst thing to do. But would I do it? Yeah, because I'd be trading Kyler. But Gannon's not going to trade him. Loves him. He absolutely loves him. It sucks because I'm a Cardinal fan, bro, and I don't want Kyler. I want Anthony Richardson. We're not going to get a chance to ever get a quarterback in this territory maybe if we suck this year, we have another shot at it next year, and that would be the year to have it. But I don't know, bro. I would take Anthony Richardson in a heartbeat. But that's me.
It's a tough one. What do you think the Cowboys pick? I'm a Cowboys fan. I'm a big Cowboys fan.
You hear Bijan, bro, but him falling to 26, you probably got a greater chance of getting struck by lightning right now, walking outside, than him falling to 26. So could the
That's a lot of lightning.
Yeah.
That might be possible. There's been a lot of lightning in Hawaii.
Have either of you been struck by lightning before?
No, fuck
okay.
that.
So, it's still possible for you guys. But 26 overall, I mean, you guys would have to trade up. Is Jerry Jones capable of trading up for a big player like Bijan? Sure. But I don't think it happens.
Hey, Smitty, can you let us know at least like 30 days in advance that you're coming so we can request a day or two off?
Yeah, I'll try and keep. I mean, I don't have any plans of going now, but I do miss Hawaii. I've got family in Hawaii, and I've been there about 3 or 4 times. I love Hawaii. I just haven't been in a while.
You have me on my Instagram, so.
I flew. My uncle has a plane. He has one of those. It's like a stunt plane, and you can't tell if it's upside down or right side up. It's got straight wings, and he let me fly. He let me fly that and do barrel rolls and everything. I couldn't walk straight for a couple days though. That made me just absolutely sick. Right, kind of where Pearl Harbor is, right over where Pearl Harbor is.
Yeah.
I love Hawaii.
You weren't in the Red Bull competition?
The what?
You didn't take place in the Red Bull competition?
No. But I did tell you my story about the Moke Islands and almost dying on the Moke Islands. That was
crazy, man.
Yeah, that was stupid. Tourists don't know what they're doing out there. I had no idea. I was a young kid, but it was crazy. Anyway, anything else you guys have? What else you want to ask me? What else are we talking here?
That's it, man. We just want to chit chat for a bit. We got to get back to work. We're almost done. We're finishing up the night here at work.
All right. What do you guys do? What kind of work is it?
Warehousing and warehouse.
Nice. You guys together? That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm the manager. He's my warehouse lead.
Nice. That's great. You guys call it in, not from the job. I love it. All right. Hey, guys, call in anytime. You got the bat line. I got you in the system. We love hearing from you. Call in more often.
All right. Thank you, man. You have a good night.
Yeah, Scotty, Du, and Gustavo. Appreciate you. Let's send them
man.
to the moon. To the moon.
Yeah.
This is good, guys. That's when people tell me I don't tell anybody about the show, tell me listening to those two buddies having such a good time being a part of this show. Tell me it's not worth it. Tell me that you aren't reflecting back right now going, man, my selfish son of a whatever. Me holding back from my buddies. Look at Gustavo and Scotty Du having a blast on this show. Having a blast listening to it, talking about it, discussing all the different things and breaking news pieces that come up. Like that's a true bro friendship there. You know, a real bro, a real friend will share the show with their buddy and bring that kind of dynamic to it. Love it. Scotty Du and Gustavo. Let's give them a standing ovation. All right, let's take one more caller, and then I might go on the Dynasty channel because we probably need to. It's so late, but we probably need to go on the Dynasty channel even for 5 minutes. Let's have one more caller and let's go. Let's see here. What else we got? Used to live in Kailua. Yeah. I love Hawaii. They're lucky guys being in Hawaii. Algier has 1/3 of the yards in 3 games against 3 bad teams, says Travis. Yeah, he you could look at that. I do like Algier a lot, though. Bryce Young is number 1 pick, in my opinion. Accuracy rules. And I hate the slander for the height, man, and weight. Kyler's proven to be a problem because of his attitude. Nothing to do with his size. I mean, he's escaped it. Kyler Murray's proven at his size you can do well. In fact, Smitty always sharing with friends. Thank you, Peanut Butter and Waivers. Thank you for sharing the show. Just that's a testament. Those two bros having such a good time calling in together and from their job. Like that just honestly, Gustavo and Scotty, that means more to me than anything. When you see things like that, where there's like an actual couple of dudes, just buddies that literally both of them love watching the show. Like I can't ask for a bigger compliment, to be honest with you. I just got here shaking my head just seeing this news. Yeah, rewatch the show, bro, for a little bit of a recap. Not hating on Algier. Just not completely sold yet. No, I mean, it's a good point. You always got to look at that kind of stuff. Okay, one final call. Dial in. One final question, and then I'm going to go on the Dynasty channel. So I want everybody that's here. We got over 50 people in here. I want you to venture on over to the Dynasty channel next. I'll drop, if you keep the live chat open on this, I'll open it right now. I'll actually drop the link into the live chat. So even when I end this live stream, if you just hang out in this live chat, it stays open for like 5 minutes. I'll come back and drop the link, and that way you guys can get right to it. Let me see if there's anything else here that I gotta do. Yeah, we'll go live in a minute. All right, final call. Anybody got a final call? Nobody? Too late? Everybody in their pantry right now on the phone. If they're gonna dial in. I forget sometimes how late it is East Coast. It's like almost 3 a.m. Sorry, Smitty won't come to Dynasty Channel. Peace, guys. Going to sleep. Thank you, Sandu. Appreciate you. All right, guys. I'm out of here. Going to the Dynasty Channel. Hang out in the live chat. I'll come back and drop the link in just a few seconds to a minute or two. All right. Appreciate you. All right, Sandu's coming to the Dynasty Channel. Sandu, we're only going to do about 5 to 7 minutes. So stay in the live chat, and I will drop the link in 1 second.